Thank you for joining us today.
Pleasure.
So that we can talk a little bit about Passionworks Studio and the core values that give rise to the everyday, right? What happens when people walk in that studio or they take the spirit of the studio with them out into their lives. To start, assume that you're talking to someone who is really unfamiliar with the studio. How would you describe its mission, its purpose?
Its mission is really simple. It's one, it's art first. It's a curiosity and the discovery and the intersect of humans working together and discovering what really brings them joy and what they love to do, and then inviting more people into the process. The focus is to create a really beautiful space for people with developmental differences to become their best selves or to explore that. And in doing so, once we invite other people in, it's not exclusive to the core artists who experience developmental differences. It really radiates through anybody who participates or enters the space.
Mm-hmm. So curiosity and exploration, wondering and wandering into new territory, whether that's learning how to sew or learning how to paper mache, or really delving into what's my muse. Is it Smokey Robinson? Is it architecture and buildings? Is it animals? What I've seen at the studio and what I hear you saying is you follow the lead of the artist. You follow where they want to go, what sparks their curiosity, and then you create and hold space for them to lean into that and pursue that.
In the simplest terms, we use what we have. And so we have our individual interests and curiosity, and then we have the materials around us. And so this is a team sport. So we collaborate together through our individual interests, and then and look at things that are around us and how we can interact and upcycle and make them anew. And that's the root. That's the root of it. In how we communicate with each other and play.
As you can see,
I have a big head. So.
we have an upside-down lampshade, we have a pool noodle, and we have an industrial floor waxing scrubber pad, and an old bike helmet. And with just a little creativity, a little ingenuity, and a little love, we've been able to upcycle these wonderful individual components to make something awesome.
So art first, right? Leading with art, following the lead of the artists and where their curiosities take them. And on numerous occasions, we've kind of talked about the fundamental organizing process as structuring and surrendering, creating an environment in which people can then improvise. Let's talk about that structure and surrender as kind of being central to how you lead with art.
Mm-hmm. Right. So if you offer somebody the world, they can do whatever they want, all the time. It can be overwhelming. And with practice, you kind of come into your own style. So we do create a structure where people, we set it up like a restaurant, the room, the space, so the physical structure of the space. And people can, once they become familiar with the space, they know where the paper, the canvas is, their project they're working on, and they can self-navigate and get what they need, the pens and the brushes. And so everything is close by that way. And then they can investigate at their own pace.
Yeah. And in listening to you, that's very much by design.
Absolutely intentional. Yeah, nobody knows better than the person who's drawing, and if the curiosity leads to questions about shading or profile or something, then yes. But I will, if somebody's holding a paintbrush in a certain way, I'm not going to say, hey, that's not the way you do it. Well, it's the way they do it, and it's like if they're not struggling and it's working, I'm not going to get in somebody's way. Because there isn't the right way to do anything. We think there is because we're told there is, but it's not. It's all an investigation.
Yeah.
And I take very seriously, is that because that's how people find their own voice. And because you got to drown it out, you have all these things coming at you, and it's really a brave thing to have your own look. And what I love about the studio is that, you can look at a painting and say, oh, there's Jerry. There's Tina, there's Scooter. And so the individual voices are sound, and then it's a collective.
Yeah. I can look at the raccoon, which again, the raccoon is on a satellite dish, right? It's on a mural. It's in paintings. That raccoon...
It's on a bus.
Is on a bus, right?
Yeah.
And I know that that's Tina's.
Sure.
Right.
Right.
And I know the story behind that raccoon. And I know that that's part of a published story of hers. Right. And she considers that raccoon to be a friend. So that's a beautiful thing. You describe it as simple. I think in some ways it's countercultural because in school systems, in socialization processes, we're often taught patterns, right? Flowers are red, green leaves are green. And so there's a schooling, if you will, not just in art, but in how we navigate through the world. And sometimes we lose some of that creative spirit.
Yeah, then we have we have to do the undoing. And, and a lot of people come in the studio, announce that they are not creative, and it's because either they were told that or they felt it. And it's not true. It's a practice. And if you're interested in developing your skill, then you do it. Or you just say you're not. And nobody has to, But there's so many people who are told that they couldn't sing, that they couldn't draw, that they couldn't. And that thread to their own creativity often is snapped around 3rd, 4th grade. And it breaks my heart. It's your own practice. And so that's what we really, truly want to cultivate and relax and just melt into, because we're creative beings. Individuals are so lucky if they can occupy their time in their mind and their body and making things, thinking, writing, singing, drawing. And so we just want to encourage people, if they're at all interested, just to do stuff, because it'll lead you to what you love.